Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Portland School District Podcast. We're live here in the Town Tech Educational Podcast Studio at Portland High School with our superintendent. And we will be getting the latest and greatest from Dr. Charles. And Charles, how are you doing?
Dave, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hey, it's good to be seen, as we say. So forth. This is going to be our episode number 17, and giving us an update on the district. We spoke just before we came on, I just came back from our Portland Chamber of Commerce meeting, and Portland is. We had our update from.
To that end, Russ just shared with us the vaccination rates.
Yes.
For the child, and we're closing in on 80% in the town.
Yes.
Amongst all elderly people.
Yes.
And I was particularly interested by the age categories, right?
Yes.
And that the 65 and older group is at 100%.
Yes.
Right. And then it goes down a little bit for the 45 to 65.
Yep.
But the one, of course, that I tune right into is the 12 to 16-year-old group.
Yes.
Right, or 12 to 18-year-old group. And that was around 60%, 60 to 60%. I think it was 58% fully vaccinated.
Okay.
62%, at least with the first shot. Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's great. And, the importance of that for us with our students shows up in our need to not have to quarantine students who are fully vaccinated.
Sure.
Right. And the big difference, of course, between this year and last year is that if you're vaccinated, you don't need to quarantine. And
Exactly.
Last year, when we had lots of cases enter the school, the ripple effect of that was taking out entire grade levels and and lots of faculty and staff.
Mm-hmm.
This year, that we're not seeing that as much.
Yep.
Because folks are vaccinated.
Sure.
And by not seeing that as much, I should clarify, at the middle school and high school.
Right. Okay.
We're still being affected at the Valley View, Gildersleeve, and Brownstone
Sure.
level because those students can't be vaccinated.
Can't be vaccinated.
Right? But while we have dozens of students quarantined, we don't have any teachers or faculty staff quarantined because they're vaccinated.
Right.
And that, of course, is enormously important.
Sure.
Because what hampered us last year was, when we had dozens of teachers out, we didn't have subs.
Exactly.
Right. So this year we're not running into that reality, and as a result, we're able to keep the schools open and keep rolling right along.
Right.
And then, of course, supporting the students are home. Now, I do want to just recognize something. I recognize completely, and I have been sharing with anybody who will listen to me at the state level and in the Department of Education and Department of Public Health, my observation that when students are quarantined, it is an incredible hardship for our families.
Absolutely.
Tremendous hardship because, especially for our youngest learners, parents have to be home to take care of them or scramble to find somebody to, and that affects their livelihood and their ability to work.
Sure.
I also recognize that as of right now, we have not had any instances of in-school transmission of COVID.
Right.
And in fairness, that raises the question that if you're not seeing in-school transmission, why are we quarantining as aggressively as we are?
Right.
Unfortunately, my answer to that is not always the best one, is because that's what we have to do per the expectations established by the Department of Public Health and the State Department of Education. I, though, want families to know I am asking that question, that at this point, with all we've learned about the efficacy of masks and the other measures we're taking, is it time now for us to consider pulling back on the length of quarantine periods? Because if I thought we were quarantining them and stopping further spread, of course we would do it.
Right.
But the purpose of quarantine is to stop further spread while we're not seeing the
further spread. Yes.
So I don't have any good answers to that except to recognize the incredible hardship it is for parents, and that in my advocacy work on behalf of education, I am asking that question. Is it time for us to say, maybe it's time to relax some of these quarantine,
Sure.
unless and until, God forbid,
Right.
we were to see more outbreaks in schools or things were to change from our experience over the past year?
Right. Well, and two, I think the vaccination, as far as for the lower grades, I think that's on the horizon. I think they're
It's on the rise. I'm hearing
vaccine
sometime in
is-
October.
yes.
We're gonna.
So which is a good, at least from what is it, 12 to or 8 to 12 or something.
I think it's 5 to 12.
5 to 12. Okay. So that's a good thing from that standpoint. And again, this whole thing has been an evolving situation as the science dictates, and as we go along here, and we're constantly calling audibles here, so to speak, if you would.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
whatever. And at the chamber meeting this morning, also the state representative from I think Haddam, East Haddam, and so forth, and they just came out of special session, and they did okay the emergency declaration for the governor to keep his emergency status as far as that goes. So
Right. And so the effect of that extension of the governor's authority till February is that masks are going to continue to be required as a function of that executive authority.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our faculty and staff are required to be vaccinated or present
test.
weekly testing. And we are down to a handful of folks who are now providing me weekly negative tests. In order to continue. But at this point, the 97% of our faculty and staff is fully vaccinated.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That is good. Yeah.
And from a pushback, I think everybody's realizing the importance of public health and so forth. I don't think that we've had the pushback that other districts have had, as far as in relation to the anti-vaccine or anything like that.
No, definitely not. I mean, we have had a few unfortunate incidents with people expressing their displeasure about it, but I think for the most part, people have to recognize that the masks must work.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you, we have had positive teachers and students in our classrooms, in our cafeterias, on our buses, during a period when they were known to be infectious.
Yes.
And no one around them got COVID.
Right.
And primarily, I believe that's because the student who was sick had a mask on, and the students and people around them had a mask on.
Correct.
So, again, I just observe that something is stopping this from spreading in the school setting. It must be something, whether, I don't think there's any magical force field in our classrooms. There's no HEPA filters or anything. It must be the masks that work.
And again, the social distancing and just the cognizance of being aware and so forth of the measures that we need to take.
Right.
So anyway, cool. All right, that's good. What else? I see coming up the hill here. We have some construction going on at Valley View. So tell us about that.
So it is exciting. If you've driven by Valley View, you've seen the backhoes out there, and they're digging out, and they've taken down the fence. And I had a couple of calls from the community. They said, "Oh my God, are we building onto Valley View? Did I miss something?" And no, we're not adding any classrooms or space. But what we got last year was a Gildersleeve grant for a new playscape at Valley View. So they're putting in a nice new playscape for our youngest learners, our pre-K and K students. It's the smaller ones, so the kids can play on it. But it has been a hit at Valley View. The kids are loving watching the construction happen there.
Sure.
And, for those who are listening to this and don't know, we have a really, really amazing thing here in Portland called the Gildersleeve Committee.
Yes.
And from what I understand, the Gildersleeve shipbuilders, which is an important part of Portland history and lore, was a wealthy group that made, I think, over 160 or so vessels here in Portland.
Yes.
And some of that money was put aside in a trust and is used every year to help fund different projects in town.
Yes.
So our principal at Valley View, Jessica Bruin, and her PTO and a committee got together and wrote a grant for this new playscape. So that's what's going in right now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That's a good thing. Now that was now because we also have isn't there a Head Start program down there
Head
also?
Start, yeah.
Okay. Because I think that the place that they're putting that wasn't that in the I call it the bullpen.
Right. Yes. Yes.
As far as that goes.
Yeah.
So.
The fence is going to go up around it. There's a road right there. You want to make sure the students don't
I see.
run
I
down
see.
to the road. So the fence is going to go around it again. It's just going to be a bigger area.
Oh, nice.
With a nice playscape. Whereas in the past, the bullpen, it's funny. Was there was, there were toys and things in it, but
Yeah.
they didn't have a nice playscape to play on.
Oh, nice.
And now the kids will.
Great. So good. Anyway, what else is happening?
So I just want to mention one other, frustration is the ongoing challenge with transportation.
Yes.
So in a normal year, we run 10 bus routes in Portland. We started the year, we were down 2 drivers. So we collapsed 2 of the routes into 8, right? And what happens when you do that is you increase the capacity on the bus, and the bus routes are longer because there are more kids on the buses. So when we went from 10 to 8 routes, the routes got a little longer, and the buses got a little bit more crowded. Unfortunately, we've now had to go from 8 bus routes down to 6 because 2 drivers left. They did not leave because of any objections to vaccination or anything. They left because they had new employment opportunities. And we've had to now collapse from 8 to 6 routes.
Oh.
So it's tough now.
Yes.
The buses are crowded. They're not over the capacity of 77, but they are pretty close to that capacity, and they're longer.
Okay.
So in some cases, students are on the bus for 15, 20 minutes longer, and in some cases they're picked up earlier in the morning. And I'm really sorry about that. There's hope on the horizon. I've been assured by M&J that they have recruited and are training 4 new drivers, but it takes a long time.
Oh, yeah.
To
get certifications.
Get certification.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we should be whole, I'm hoping, by the middle of November, maybe a little bit later. And that's if these drivers finish their certification and don't get poached by any other districts.
Which is a possibility.
It is. I have to be honest. It is a possibility. We are working to keep our current drivers and bring on new ones. But I just want to recognize that this is a real challenge, and it affects athletics and lots of other groups that need transportation. I don't have any easy answers, but we're working hard on it, and we're trying to communicate on a day-to-day basis what's happening. And I just hope everybody can be patient with us.
Sure.
And this is, a function of the national labor shortage, and
Yes.
particularly bus drivers.
Yes, exactly.
If anybody that's hearing the sound of my voice would like to be a bus driver, I would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Please get in touch with me or get in touch with M&J, and we'll talk to you about what we need to do to make that happen.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's happening, nationally, across the country, as far as and not only in school buses, but there's a severe labor shortage, and that was one of the things again that was brought up at the chamber meeting this morning. Is that obviously with the severe shortages in the workforce, the chamber has taken on. In fact, they're running a job fair, which is coming up this month, and they've got over 45 or 50 employers that will be having booths there. So, they're looking to kind of fill the ranks in a variety of fields. So if you're interested and want to get back on the payroll, head out to the job fair. As far as that goes, that'd be great going from there. So the other thing in the news is obviously we've heard of the TikTok challenges.
Yeah.
Have we experienced any issues there?
Yes. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this, there's a platform called TikTok. It's a social media platform that's very popular with younger students. There was a challenge that was put out there called Devious Licks. Not sure who invented the name. It's kind of clever. Devious Licks being that students were encouraged to steal little things and post that, and I mean like soap dispensers in bathrooms, or I don't know, little things. And it kind of went viral, right? And lots of schools were having challenges because sometimes little things are a big deal.
Sure.
And sometimes little things quickly become bigger things.
Yes.
We had a little bit of it at the middle school. Our principal and teachers got right on top of it and communicated to students and parents that devious licking at the middle school would not be
tolerated.
Not be tolerated. And for the most part, we have really nice and respectful and engaged students who I think may have been initially impressed by the viral nature of it, but quickly got the message to stop.
No, this is not a good thing.
Not a good thing. And the other ones we're hearing about is the next challenge is slap a teacher.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So certainly we work hard with our students about citizenship and digital citizenship, and slapping a teacher would not be a good idea by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't expect our students would engage in any of that. That said, people have to understand that if our teacher were slapped by a student, that would be grounds for very serious disciplinary action up to and including law enforcement involvement.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So I don't expect that's going to happen, and I hope it doesn't. That said, overall, this reminds us of the power and influence of social media.
Well,
right, and the dangers of social media.
Yes.
And it calls on us as adults to be aware of what our students are viewing, be involved in the lives of our students, and if we ever caught an inkling that something is going viral or our students are getting caught up in something they shouldn't be, we have to put the guardrails in place and make sure that students are being safe and accounted for.
Absolutely, and people, don't realize how much power that the social media platforms have. I mean, obviously, in the news this week is obviously one of the employees of Facebook. Brought to light a lot of the algorithms that Facebook has in place, and now they're on the defensive as far as that goes. But it really is an effect, and not only on younger people but also on adults, because from a standpoint of creating pervasive atmosphere of dividing people. I mean, it's certainly prevalent.
Sure. We're living through a fascinating time, right?
Yeah,
I
yes.
imagine that people were having this conversation right around the time Gutenberg invented the printing press, right? I mean, people were probably thinking, oh my God, anybody can print anything and put it out into the world. Well, yeah, I mean, that was a pretty disruptive event and, shaped new norms in the Renaissance and all the things that came with that. We're going through something similar now, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to have to, weigh the pros and the cons and the dangers and the benefits of omnipresent technology and social media and the ability to spread misinformation versus the ability to connect with family and friends around the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's our growth. That's what we're going to have to do as a citizenry.
As we evolve.
And of course, it even becomes more important when we think about the role of that in the lives of young and able to be influenced children, right?
Yep.
And as adults, we have to be mindful of that and engaged and protect our kids.
Sure. On another note, I think the school band made an appearance at the Big E as
and the Yukon football game
and the Yukon football
and the
game.
chorus sung at the Bushnell in the 9/11.
Yes.
So Dave, we're back.
Yes.
I've been watching soccer games. The football games are out there. The band is fully engaged again. I can't wait for the spring musical. The cross-country team has been now to New Hampshire and is on its way to Vermont. DECA is on its way to Boston.
Nice.
We're going. We missed all of those things that we had to not do last year are back, and I couldn't be more excited about it. It's just so refreshing.
And the sports teams are doing well.
Wonderful, yeah.
My God, soccer and football. My God, it's amazing.
Kids are engaged. They're active. They're fit. They're having fun. Lots of school spirit. Good energy. Good vibe all around. It's terrific.
Great, fantastic. So awesome. Well, I think that certainly, rather than being able to report all of the doom and gloom.
Yeah. Good mix.
It is, and so forth. And I think it's getting some really, valuable information out there and to go from there. So, which is great. All right. That I don't know. You have anything else?
No, thanks for hosting me again.
Well, that account wraps up our episode number 17. And this is live here at the Town Tech Educational Podcast Studio with Dr. Charles Britton. I'm your host, Dave Kosminski. And again, stay tuned for more relevant information, not only from the town side, but also the school side as well. So, Dr. Britton, thanks so much. Be safe, and we'll see you in maybe another week or so.
Have a great long weekend.
You too. Thanks so much.
Take care.
This podcast was produced by the Town Tech Educational Partnership Program, which is a partnership between Portland High School and the Portland Town Hall. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or organization, check out towntech.org/podcast to learn more.